Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Raul,
And it's Mike.
and this is the AO Podcast, and welcome to episode 7. Now, real quick, before we get into this episode, make sure you follow us on all our social medias and listen to the podcast on Apple Podcast and Spotify. All the links for those will be down in the description.
And watch on YouTube.
Yeah, watch on YouTube. And so, for this episode, we wanted to do something special, and I decided that I was going to let Mike kind of take the reins on this one. So that's why today
so excited.
So that's why a large part of today's episode is going to be Mike, or basically both of us, reviewing one of our favorite Eminem albums, which is Relapse Refill. But before we get into that,
so excited.
Before we get into that,
but what you gonna talk about?
Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, you already noticed that there's something on the table that we don't normally have, and it's a sombrero. And
for those who don't know, tell them what a sombrero is.
You want me to explain? Okay. So, for those of you who have never seen a Mexican ever in your life,
are you actually gonna do it?
No. People know what a fucking... Bro, white people know what a fucking sombrero is, dude. They sell them, like...
That is true.
So, okay, so you see a sombrero right here, and so this actually has a lot of meaning to me because this is one of my dad's old sombreros, and actually I don't think I've ever shared this on the podcast before, but, so my dad, unfortunately, did pass away a few years ago, and so... Real quick background, my mom and dad separated when I was fairly young, and so I didn't really get to see my dad that often because he would spend time between either being in Texas or being in Mexico because we have family in both those places. And I never really actually wore or got into wearing sombreros, and I can honestly say the only time I recall actually somewhat regularly wearing a sombrero was probably when I was a kid. But as I got older, I just never really saw it just was never really my style. But the other day I was cleaning up the living room, and I came across this big old like plastic bag looking thing. And so I got it and I opened it, and come to find out that it had 3 of my dad's old sombreros in it. And I decided to try them on for some reason. And when I actually put them on, it not only made me think of my dad, but it's a really symbolic thing for me that now I think I'm actually going to start wearing some sombreros.
And these are cool. This is a cool looking one.
Yeah,
too.
My dad
and they actually do look good on you. If you haven't seen the picture on his Instagram, go check it out.
Oh, make sure you follow us on Instagram. By the way, the link for both of our accounts is in the bio of our official podcast Instagram account. So make sure you follow that. And again, the link for that is down in the description. But my dad did not play about his sombreros. Like my sister actually told me this the other day. When he would first buy them, he would do this thing where he would get a boiling pot of water.
Yeah.
And he would put the sombrero next to it. So the heat and the steam from the boiling water would loosen the sombrero up so he could like bend it.
Oh.
Yeah. And so he like really took
care of these sombreros.
Yeah, so he really took care of his sombreros. And so putting it on and actually wearing it and seeing myself in it, not only did I really like the style now, but it also reminded me of my dad because he literally had a sombrero for every occasion, whether it would be to go to work or to go out and party. He had a sombrero for it. So I say all that to say that if you see me rocking sombreros from now on, don't be surprised.
Yeah, and you look really Mexican in those photos too. Like I'm like, oh wow, that's really channeling some energy right there. It does look cool though. Like I want to put you in like a Western, like a Django Unchained type type movie, but like it's like good, the bad, the ugly. Like it's just like shit like that. But
I'm
they're
just
really
gonna let the
cool.
fact
Yeah.
that you used Django and
I
Chain
know.
as
I
your
was like,
example
wait, hold up.
slide.
I was like, wait, hold
Like
up. That's kind of wrong. That's like
the
kind of
worst period in fucking Western history. Let's.
I was like, I was just thinking
example.
of like cool westerns because I think Django
Cool.
Unchained is like a cool. It's a cool.
I mean, it wasn't cool for the people.
But no, I'm talking about like how cool Django is. You fucking dick. What the fuck? I'm talking about how cool Django and Christoph, like Jamie Foxx and Christoph Waltz is. What you gotta? It does sound bad at the beginning, but I think you just made it worse. But it does cool. It's cool. If you want to cut that out, fine. But it's cool.
No, I'm keeping that in.
Oh, that's crazy. You're gonna look crazy because I think Django Unchained is like.
I mean, it's a great movie. I'm
great.
just saying that wouldn't
maybe the time period is
that,
a little.
That wouldn't be like my first example when I would think of a great Western. I mean, it wasn't necessarily. The subject matter wasn't necessarily.
Subject
great.
matter is really grim. It's a great. It's a really grim subject matter, but it's a cool movie. Like Django is so cool. I think the Christoph Waltz in that movie is cool. But you would look cool like as good, the bad, the good, the bad, the ugly, like another Western, Clint Eastwood type shit. So there, the good, the bad, the ugly. Let's go back to the other one. Goddamn, Raul, fuck you. Go back. You look cool.
Okay, so I'm just saying, if you see me wearing sombreros, don't be surprised. But just wanted to share that real quick. And now, before we get into the Relapse review, which is probably going to be most episodes, so make sure you get ready for that.
Oh, man.
But real quick, I just wanted to have a few things that I wanted to talk about. And the first one was I cannot skip past this. This was an insane loss for the anime world everywhere. But
yes.
Recently we did find out that Akira Toriyama, which was the creator of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, has unfortunately passed away. And here's the thing. The reason why this was such a big deal was because I don't think, for those of you who don't really watch anime or are into it, the reason why this is so big is because back in the day, obviously, it wasn't as cool as it is now to watch anime.
Especially in like the 80s and 90s. Like if you watched anime in that era, it was like guaranteed like you would be made fun of. And Dragon Ball really, like, no matter what your feelings of Dragon Ball are, it like blew the fuck up. It changed like the face of like how United States people, Americans in general, just viewed anime in the West. Like it changed the game entirely. It's arguably the most popular anime of all time.
Yeah, this is, and just to kind of give an example on my end on just how big this impact was.
Yeah, you don't watch anime, and this is
but here's the thing.
This is crazy too.
When I used to go to Mexico as a kid, so I used to go to my tio's house a lot, and they had a TV, and I would just sometimes, if I didn't have anything to do, or like my mom went out with my tias or something to go out in the town, I would just sit there and I would watch TV. And I vividly remember that sometimes when I would be watching, they would show Dragon Ball Z in Spanish. And so that just kind of goes to show, like, it was even in fucking Spanish.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't.
I was when I say before I said like in the West in the United States, and for sure, but like not even just in the United States. I have to retract that because it was going down south and it kept going, and it was like everywhere, and especially like Mexico. Like a lot of Mexicans and Mexican Americans have a deep attachment to Dragon Ball. Like it really impacted like generations of millions of people, like it is a loss. It is a loss too. And when I say you don't watch anime, it was like, but this is like the anime that introduced you to like anime.
Yeah, that was literally and the thing is, it was that way for a lot of people. Like Dragon Ball Z was their gateway into the world of anime, and it's I don't think also for the people who do really like anime, like I'm pretty sure they would understand how big this impact was because without Akira Toriyama and without Dragon Ball, we wouldn't have a lot of the anime that we have
Yeah,
today.
yes, you know, and even like arguably the second most popular anime of all time, Naruto, wouldn't exist without something like Dragon Ball, you know. So like it's influenced other iconic animes, and the anime itself is already like iconic, not to mention the influence of the animes that came after it. And not only that, tons of early internet culture is based around Dragon Ball too, since it was like long lasting and popular, and there's a lot of discussion about Dragon Ball, especially of how other people interpret it and how other people saw it, especially because there's so many different versions across like all countries, you know.
Yeah, and it
So
was
it's nuts.
insane. So it was a really huge loss, and it whether like Michael said earlier, whether you enjoy Dragon Ball or not, you can't
It's
really
sad,
deny
yeah.
you can't really deny the impact that it had, and it essentially made anime cool.
Hmm.
It really did. So that was a huge loss. The one thing that I am kind of curious about is I remember reading something a while back that he was actually working on a new series.
Mm.
And so I don't know, because I know that they released a trailer for it. So
Mm.
I don't know if it was close to being done, if it was done. So who knows what their plans are going through with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked kind of interesting. It was basically the concept of it was that all for I forgot how, but I think somehow all the main characters
Mm-hmm.
in the series like get turned into kids,
Oh,
and so that's what I was gonna. So that's what the new series. I forgot what the name of it was gonna be, but that's what the new series is gonna be about. And so I
yeah.
don't really know what their plans are gonna be if they're still gonna release that. I hope they do because I would at least like to see, even if it's only for a season. I would like to see
What?
what like his final essentially work was.
Yeah.
So yeah, just wanted to say that real quick. Rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. Definitely a huge loss.
Yeah.
Um,
Very huge. And also like I I didn't grow up on Dragon Ball, or I haven't even watched a lot of it. I've seen like a few episodes, mostly because a lot of the versions in different, you know, a lot of versions alter a lot
yeah.
to what the so it's really hard to find like the original
Oh yeah, and just to
secured
and just
versions
to mention,
of that.
since you said that, it wasn't really your thing.
Hmm.
Dragon Ball Z was my shit when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like when I would go to the store with my sister, because I used to go. Here's the thing. I'll get into this in another episode,
Yeah.
but I used to hang out with my older sister a lot when I was a kid,
Hmm.
and for some reason we used to go. We had like Walmart runs.
Yeah.
They were like our infamous Walmart runs that we used to have with each other because for some reason we would go to Walmart, but
Mm.
we would go to Walmart at like fucking midnight.
Oh, that was the funnest time to go to
Yeah,
Walmart.
and this is back when I don't know. Walmart's not open 24 hours anymore, is
I
it?
don't think so. No.
Yeah, this was back when Walmart was open 24 hours. So
Yeah, at least not a lot of them now. You know.
yeah, so it was really fun. But uh, so yeah, I just wanted to say that I was really into Dragon
Yeah,
Ball Z when
yeah,
I was younger.
and when I got into anime, it, like, yeah, I still haven't watched a lot, but like even as someone who does not know like that much about Dragon Dragon Ball itself or like the animes, like I was around like when I got into the internet in the early 2010s. That's all like the content. A lot of the content I used to watch was getting into anime was like Dragon Ball Z history and like the none of the characters themselves, even though I didn't understand shit, it was just like, wow, this is like this is a huge thing. Like I've never seen something as popular as Dragon Ball, and that's able to have like a long lasting effect over its run, you know. And I don't know if he did other stuff. Like if he did other stuff I am not aware of, but like if those stuff are cool,
Yeah, the
like
one thing that surprised me
celebrate that.
finding out about after he passed away, I guess apparently he actually worked on like a bunch of video games.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think one of the most popular ones was Dragon Quest.
Oh yeah, because he was Yeah, I think it was like the character designer. Yeah. Dragon Quest. Yeah, I haven't played those games either because like the JRPGs and they're long and I don't play video games anymore. So it's just like I know about a lot about that because of like the Japanese influence in the JRPG realm. Yeah, But rest in peace. It's a huge loss in the anime world.
All right, and so real quick before we hop into the relapse review,
Oh, not yet. No revival yet.
no, that'll come probably in the future.
It is.
But so before we get into the review, the last thing that I want to talk about is something that I don't think a lot of people are addressing, and I want to see addressed more, and that is that orcas are the real bullies of the ocean.
They are.
And
they are. Them and dolphins.
listen,
Dolphins are dicks too.
Listen, this is something that I wanted to get into because I don't. Well, to be fair, I mean they are like giant and scary creatures, so I get it why they would do this, but I find it kind of weird. Maybe it's because also, to be fair, around that time we didn't really know too much about what was in the ocean.
We still don't.
Well, yeah, to be fair, but I mean, like, we knew even less back then.
Yeah,
But
nuts.
so because for some reason, well, actually, no, there's probably a few reasons, but for some reason, they pop culture and the media for a while, and I think I want to say it was actually when Jaws came out.
Yeah.
That ever since that movie, like there's been this depiction
Of
sharks being like these terrible and monstrous creatures, and there's literally it's gotten to the point where there's a shit ton, like there's literally like a list long of very shitty shark
the
movies.
most amount of quantity of movies in a subgenre is shark movies, like shark horror movies. There's so much of them, like that could fill up every other genre
And
ever too. That's nuts.
Of them are shitty.
It's like there's not 90, 98, fam. There's only like Jaws, and that's it.
No, I said 99, bitch.
No, you said 99?
Yeah,
I
didn't
didn't.
say You're not gonna fucking gaslight me like you did last time.
True. Well, I didn't intend on gaslighting you, okay? God damn it. Okay, keep spreading loose about the shark movies.
But, no, so... Well, actually, no, I don't know if you've seen this movie, but I want to say the only, like, really decent shark movie that I've seen since Jaws is, have you watched a movie? It was with Blake Lively. It was called The Shallows.
Yeah. No, I haven't watched that movie.
I actually thought that was... Because it was kind of a more, like, different take on a shark movie.
Yeah.
And so I really liked the element that they went with it. So I'll say that's probably, like... probably my favorite shark movie that I've seen since Jaws is that one.
Yeah, I've heard some decent things about it. I haven't watched it, so yeah.
But so
orcas.
Let's
go back to the orcas.
So, but I say that to say that so sharks have been depicted for a long time as like these terrible creatures.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we fucking have like Shamu over here in SeaWorld, like not like we see this big creature who we see as majestic and we see it do all these tricks and shit.
Yeah, SeaWorld's like, oh yeah, look at these happy little large creatures that are friendly to the world.
I believe people call them, or they refer to them as the pandas of the ocean. And
oh my god, pandas are cute though, but not orcas.
But so this whole time,
especially if they've been captive and abused, they're gonna kill some divers, and they have. Have you seen the Blackfish documentary?
Yeah,
right? I haven't, but I heard a lot about like the facts of it. Like I just know about like these orca deaths because I'm even as a kid, I went to SeaWorld a couple of times actually, and I look at Shamu and I'm like I don't want to be near this huge ass thing that we could quote unquote like tame. No, like, and not to mention them in the wild. When their survival instinct, man.
And here's the thing: so basically this whole time we've been led to believe that sharks are like the most terrible thing in the ocean, and like they're this apex predator. Meanwhile, you have fucking orcas here murking sharks left and right.
I know.
And
They
It's
were
like, dude, what the fuck? And
they remind me of hippos in a way of like just being like a path of destruction because hippos are fucking gnarly. Hippos and kangaroos are gnarly fucking animals that are just dicks.
yeah, and the thing that blew my mind that I was reading up on was that apparently it's a thing. Like
Yeah.
sharks are actually scared of orcas because I read something that said that if there's orcas hunting
Mhm.
around a certain spot in the
Yeah.
ocean and sharks know that orcas are around, they'll literally leave.
Yeah.
And so orcas are the real threat is what I'm trying to get
They're
at. And also
huge.
you mentioned dolphins. Dolphins are another animal that we perceive as cute and like cuddly. But
No.
meanwhile, I saw
They're,
literally I watched this
they're
video.
fucking
I
dicks.
watched this video of a fucking it's so
The
fucking
horny
it's
dicks.
so fucking funny. It's a video of a fucking dolphin and there's like a I think it's like a sea like an otter or something.
Yeah.
The fucking dolphin just comes up and fucking yeets that shit in the air with its tail. Like you just fucking see it fly all the way. And it fucking did it for no reason.
I know, it's just like you had no reason to do that. It's like when hippos will willingly kill at like animals for fun, and they're herbivores. They don't even like eat meat. They would just kill things, and just to kill. It's nuts. Hippos and kangaroos like God was like on one making those. I'm like, I can't. Like, that's like a horrifying creature to me, you know?
Yeah,
Not
and
to
you know,
mention, like, the animals we haven't seen in the deep ocean and
yeah,
all
that's the thing,
that.
and that's why. I'll get into this later, but I do strongly. But one of my biggest conspiracy theories that I do have is that
There's aliens in the ocean.
fish are aliens.
Yeah.
And
I believe that too.
I have a bunch of theories to back that up.
I
Or
believe that
examples,
too. Because
examples.
no earthly creature could look like them. Like,
Yeah,
they,
you
they
see some of the
defy,
shit that's down there, and it's
they,
like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
they
what is
defy
that thing?
they defy so much of nature that they become another form. Well, I guess that's just evolution, but like I don't believe like it's nuts how evolution is able to make an animal adapt or like forced to adapt, you know, especially in regions like those where we don't fucking, you know, we know more about space than we do about the ocean.
Yeah, that's
That's
one of my favorite facts because it's just so
like
nuts.
space is infinite, but like we still don't know what what.
We don't even know what's here yet.
Yeah, we don't even know what's all here. Can we find out what's here first and then worry about the
And
fucking
then you have
aliens
fucking
outer
Elon and
space?
shit being like, oh,
He's like, let's go to Mars.
Let's go to Mars.
It's
Like,
like go down there. Fucking make Atlantis. Fuck. Oh
but
my
that,
god, nuts.
but
Nature is nuts.
but that's
We've
the thing.
watched a lot of nature nature documentaries high as fuck, and it's nuts.
That's the best thing to do. When
I
you're high.
know.
But the ocean is such an insane place because we also don't really have the technology yet, I think,
Yeah.
to fully explore everything. And
Yeah.
the thing too is you know that there's a lot of shit down there because you're constantly seeing stories pop up or come out of, for example, to be like, oh, like these sea divers in Japan or whatever saw this like carcass of a fucking of a whatever fucking extinct animal that was down there, like,
Yeah.
and so it's like
He's like, we haven't found that now? Like, why did it take so long to find this huge ass fucking animal?
So-
animal bones.
so it's like we don't even know what's fully down there yet, and
Yeah.
fish are just such weird creatures.
I
to
know.
Me. And
They are.
but you want to know what's crazy though?
Nature's-
You mentioned earlier. You mentioned about how orcas were killing some of the staff
Yeah.
at some of these places.
Yeah, but to be fair, that's
But-
just abusive and captive
No,
places.
but I wanted to mention that because I was talking about this with my sister the other day actually, and this is an actual thing that you can look up. I forgot what it's called, but I know that there's
Yeah.
a name for it. But there's been instances where animals will legit get depressed, and this happens in
Yeah.
zoos too.
Yes.
where they kind of go into a sort of like psychosis because they've been in captivity for so long that
Yeah.
they'll start acting really strange.
Yeah.
And there was a very, very popular story that I think, I don't know if it was an orca or if it was a dolphin, I can't remember, but it it just kind of went batshit crazy one day and it started fucking bashing its head against the side of the side of the wall of its enclosure,
Yeah.
and it just essentially killed itself.
Yeah, no, that's nuts. Like the psychology of animals, and the fact that like human beings are just like have just been brutally experimenting on them just to find out like the nature of them is nuts. And, like that, and like I think zoos too are just we shouldn't have zoos. Like I'm of a believer that we shouldn't like be like, oh, hunky dory with the family watching just gorillas, big fucking like just gorillas, tigers, lions, or whatever the fuck. Like I first of all, I think that's inhumane, and all it's just like that's just like a recipe. Everything in a zoo is a recipe for disaster. I think.
My only favorite thing about zoos is when you see dumbass people fall over and go into like the lion den or some
yeah
shit.
the fucking
But
yeah no
I've only been to I think I've only been to a zoo once when I was a kid, and I got scared by a lizard.
yeah. I don't know the thing like lions are cool, but
Hey, no, so what happened? I'm pretty sure I want to say it was maybe a school field trip, but so I was walking and there was a little area that was kind of dark or shaded because it had lizards in like cages, and it was all glass so you can walk around and see them. And so I was walking and I was like my head was right here and the glass for the cage or for the habitat was right there.
Yeah.
And I wasn't paying attention, and then I just hear like a kind of a thump, and I turn around, and one of the fucking lizards had literally put its like hand on the glass, and so it scared the shit out of me.
That's funny. Yeah, and fuck zoos.
Yeah, and orcas are real bullies.
Orcas are bullies, and zoos suck. Now
Now,
would you ever go to a zoo high?
Oh fuck! You know what? As much as we just said that zoos fucking suck and they shouldn't exist, I would definitely fucking go to one high, dude.
Fucking hate you.
Well, you can't fucking set me up. You're like, these are the most fucking horrible places. Like they shouldn't exist. Hey, but fucking if you smoked a joint, would you go? Like, of course I'm gonna say yes. Who the fuck would say no? Who doesn't want to stare at monkeys high as shit?
But what if they fling their shit? Because have you seen those videos of like the monkeys flinging their shit?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, that's nuts. First of all, yeah, that's nuts. Anyway, speaking of things to do high, we should talk about relapse refills, since that's what we're trying to talk about.
This is Michael's time to shine, you guys.
Oh my god, it's not even just because I want to talk about like the history of this, not just with me, but like with both of us. We have a strange kinship with this album that even Eminem fans would be like, "Why are you so attached to Relapse like this?"
Oh yeah, for those of you who don't listen to Eminem or aren't really big fans like that,
which I get.
People do not enjoy this album for the most part.
Like even Eminem fans who are like the craziest.
Even Eminem himself has said that he hates this album.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Like even in the because like for those who don't know, Eminem fans are the scum of the earth and are like the worst, most biased fans to ever exist.
For those of you who are listening on the podcast, this is Mike talking.
And Raul could agree with me here that even Eminem fans...
I'm not going to agree with all that. We have this. We are our own separate entities. We have our own separate opinions.
You can't be afraid. I'm not afraid. So like therefore...
I see what you did there.
I like how you're like it's like a nervous laughter. It's like like you're doing like a TV interview, but like there's a guy off camera ready to shoot you, so like you're forced laughing.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna go way left with that example. Thank God that you didn't.
Oh my god! But anyways, like even Eminem fans are not the biggest fans of this one, and honestly, I could see it. like it's not hard to like there's a lot of people who just hate Eminem in general or like just hate
especially nowadays.
yeah, especially now, who can't even like appreciate what he did in his prime. I'm not even but like Relapse to me, I think and I'm sad that like a lot of Eminem fans and Eminem himself do kind of like disown the album because honestly, I do think first of all, Relapse, even despite all its flaws, which we will get into, is like probably it's legit in like my top 10 favorite like hip hop albums of all time. Like unironic, I just enjoy this album so much, and the experimentation. Like I do think this. First of all, I do think this is one of Eminem's most experimental albums for sure. Like what he was doing with his flows. I think one of his more freeing albums artistically too, because he basically just did anything on this
Yeah.
album. Like it's for a lot of people they can't mesh with it, but even like the flaws that that came in with him throwing, because the context of Relapse is I think necessary to really admire it, because between like 1999 to 2005 Eminem was on top of the world, but then he was also on a lot of drugs,
Oh yeah.
specifically like Valium and all that. But like so he took like a hiatus in 2005 2006, releasing stuff here and there, but still like nothing out. Like he's making an album, but he's not liking the music he's making, and he's on a lot of drugs,
Oh
going through
yeah,
a
and
lot
then
of
in
shit.
like 2007, he almost died.
Yeah, 2007 he overdosed in the bathtub. Like if they found him literally like 5 minutes later, he would have passed away, like legit, like die. Which
That would have been crazy.
it
Imagine if
would.
Eminem would have died back then.
Yeah, no. Even say what you want about Eminem now, I'm just glad he's able to accomplish and like be able
Yeah,
to
I mean,
achieve
look. To
past
be fair,
that.
we do have to give it up because despite what you think about his
Yeah.
music or anything like that, it is very impressive to see him go from literally almost dying because of an addiction to now being how many ever years sober
15,
that he is.
16 years sober, even maybe longer.
So that is an accomplishment.
Yeah, and like Relapse was like the product of him coming back from a near death experience. Not only that, trying to get sober, legit sober for the first time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Look, like knowing the back after I learned the background on that, the first time that I heard this album,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm really surprised he still wasn't on drugs when he made this.
Yes, this is Eminem sober. This is him. Because I think like people could make the argument like maybe MMLP or like the first Slim Shady LP might have more like maybe have some like more offensive or disturbing content, but like him coming out, you could sense him and Dr. Dre being like, and Eminem has said like when he was trying to rap on Relapse, he was legit. It felt like him trying to learn how to rap again. Like it felt like, and you could feel that. You could feel like this felt like just him being at his most free lyrically and content wise. That being said, it's a horrorcore album.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's a horrorcore album. And for those who don't know what horrorcore is basically like what it is. Like I was gonna go into like the description, but like basically very haunting, very disturbing rap, similar to like the horror genre and film and all that stuff.
That was one of the elements that I absolutely loved about this album.
Yeah, like in the albums before, he said a lot of disturbing, offensive stuff, but that was it was very abrasive. It was very like there were points made on like to be made, even like some of the most wackiest shit on like the MMLP. It still had like a direct intent full of anger. It was like I'm gonna say this just to piss people off, like just because that was what he was doing. But on this one, it felt like I'm not even just gonna do it for that. I'm just gonna do it just to see what I can do. Like he literally did. It felt like this was for himself. Like this album was like, I need to do this to be able to know what I can do, and I'm gonna push it up to 10. He had no barriers on this album. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
No,
Sorry.
well, I was just trying to say so real quick before we actually hop into like the review. I think we should give a quick little backstory about how we actually, both of us started listening to Eminem.
Yeah.
So I'll go first real quick. So I have a very vivid memory of the first time I heard Eminem. I was riding around, as I mentioned earlier, because I used to hang out with my older sister a lot when I was a kid. And I remember we used to ride around in her little rack racer car that she had.
Yeah.
And this was back in the day when you would literally burn your entire playlist into a blank CD.
Yes.
And my sister had a bunch of those, and I remember she was playing one, and one of the songs that she had on there was Stan.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time
Classic.
I heard that song, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And that's when I, went back, and then when I got home, I went into my other sister's room,
Yeah.
and I went on her like old school Dell freaking desktop laptop or desktop
Yeah.
computer that she had in her room, and I went on YouTube and I started looking up, other Eminem songs and all that stuff, and that's how I really actually started really getting into not only well at first it was mainly rap, but then it obviously expanded into me getting more into music itself.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I heard Eminem.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a history with Eminem. I didn't really. I listened to because his songs are popular, even within our age between like when Eminem was dying down. He was still really popular, so a lot of his songs are still playing on his radio, like this, like the real Slim Shady and like My Name Is and Stan and songs like that. They were played around the house and in the car. Before 2010, but it wasn't. I didn't really start getting into Eminem until I was like 12 years old. Like honestly, like when I moved 11, 12 years old when I moved here, he dropped Recovery. Literally, like I remember watching the Recovery music video on the computer while everything else was like still like half the house is still in boxes when we were moving here. So I have a vivid memory of me developing like a love and appreciation for even Recovery Eminem. I was like the perfect age, and I didn't listen to a lot of rap like that. I listened to rap like N.W.A. and Biggie and Tupac like that, like the main rappers. But like I didn't really listen to rap like that until like I got into high school. But it was like a gateway back into like. And sure, you can make fun of Recovery all you want. I do think it's still a genuine, sincere album.
So
too.
so then was Recovery your first?
Yeah, and Not Afraid. I was like, oh wow, it was like I actually connect with this a lot. It's like this is actually like it's such a corny song now, but like its corniness
So
is
wait,
what
was it a song specifically, or was it the whole album that you got
I think it was just it was the song, and then it got into the album, and then that's when we started meeting. We were actually talking about like Bad Meets Evil and all that stuff with Royce and M, and that's when like we got that was like one of our first conversations too when we started getting like that was like early in our friendship was like Bad Meets Evil. I remember that too. And then I found Relapse. I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like,
I'm not gonna lie, it is a crazy jump going from Relapse to
Recovery to Relapse.
Yeah.
Because like it was such a response album, and I do think like going back to the artistry of the freeing, it's super. Not only has some of his craziest flows, his craziest rhyme schemes, but some of the most weirdest, disturbing, outlandish white boy shit that you'll ever fucking hear, and like the fact that this album sold. Not even fuck the critics. The fact that this album sold, like this still had like a gr- financially good outcome. People were buying this out. This was before like streamings and digital. People were still purchasing albums, buying albums, and it still sold well. To be fair, I still don't know how Encore sold well, but like Relapse, oh man,
I'm not gonna lie, this is because I have the only well actually I have no. I have both physical copies of both the Marshall Mathers LP, the first one and the second one.
yeah,
But I really, really wish I had a physical copy of this album.
yeah, no, and it recently had its 15th. First of all, 15 years old. That's nuts. It's like a fucking whole ass high schooler. Like this is and this album I've listened, and also maybe it's like the mental shit I was going through, especially during the pandemic. I've listened to like this album more in like the past 2 years because being an edgy teen and all that, being an edgy rockafool and getting into hip hop and in film. I was just listening to anything edgy, watching anything edgy, good or bad. And so I went back to this album in high school. I'm like, man, I don't. Like, this is. He's like, sure, it's like fucked up and disturbing and weird and stupid, but it's still like really well crafted. Like like sure, not a lot of the songs hit. Like no, not it's not a perfect album. Like none of my movies are like a perfect movies, and none of the albums I really like are like perfect albums. Yeah, sure, but but this is not a perfect album. That being said, the way it starts.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go track by track, and
we're gonna go track by track. I thought it was just more free form. Well, we'll start with 3 a.m. Let's start.
All right. Well, then you just want to talk about just certain tracks then, and
yeah, we could go track by track, see how that goes. I was just like, we're already 40 minutes in. We go track by track. It's gonna.
Well, I'm just saying we could just make a brief kind of thing of what we thought about each track.
Yeah. All right. Maybe. Yeah, we could do that. We'll see how the time goes.
All right.
But Dr. West, first of all, the actor playing the therapist is like the main actor in The Wire. Have you seen The Wire or no?
That's still a series I haven't watched.
No, I saw the first 2 seasons, but it's a really fucking great show. But
yeah, I heard really good things about it. I gotta get into it.
Yeah, it's really crazy, and that's how it starts. Like it tackles like the drug subject matter really well of like how hard it was. This is a reflection of him trying to stay sober while on these drugs, and then 3 a.m.
Okay, so we get into 3 a.m. and
it's a banger.
I absolutely love this song.
I love this song so much. I think what he was doing. First of all, the main thing about this also is he does a lot of accents in this album. A lot of accents that are really wild and crazy. The fact that honestly, I don't think he needed the accents to but I said, he was just trying to find his way back into rap. That being said, even as someone who put this album in a high spot as in like my favorite albums ever, I don't think he needed the accents. I thought if he just spoke in his regular voice, it would have been fine. But I guess
I'm sorry. I have to disagree.
Really?
Because I don't think it would have hit. Like if he would have just said this in his normal speaking voice, I don't think it would have hit. But like the fact that he had a small little
twang to it
when he said sitting nude in my living room, it's almost nude. I wonder what's on the tube.
Maybe they'll show some boobs.
I love that.
He's like, kiss the naked mannequin. I'm like, what? But even though the words we just said are wild as fuck, those rhyme schemes and his flow are. This is, I think, some of the best technically written Eminem songs. Fuck the accents, but written, the lyrics themselves, I think some of Eminem's best shit, honestly. Really, I think, yeah.
The last spike in the hat, a flashlight of Kim Kardashian's ass.
That's all 3 a.m.? Oh my god. There's a lot of Kim Kardashian references too. I found out throughout this album. There's tons of celebrity references in all of Eminem's albums. Even now, it's so it's not that shocking.
But then, okay, so wait, let's paint it. So we go from 3 a.m. right, which is this very dark and very horrorcore. Song
he was Eminem's in his murder mode. He's gonna kill everybody.
Yeah, so it kind of sets the tone. You're like, okay, this is gonna be a very dark album.
Yeah,
and then. The very next track is called "My Mom."
My mom, and even though the song itself is so stupid, it paints a picture perfectly. Because I think it's a great way to segue off 3 a.m. Because 3 a.m. is him in that mindset, in that fucking manic. But it's a dumb. I know.
You go from 3 a.m. to that, and for those of you, if you've never heard it. If you play those songs back to back,
it's jarring. It's so jarring. It's And that's why I kind of like, because this album gives you whiplash a lot. It's relentless. It doesn't let you rest. Either you get bored of it or you're entranced by it. Honestly, and not only that, I think My Mom is a cool track too because it shows like the hereditary, not only like hereditary traits of him talking about like the drug use within his family, but also like the Munchausen syndrome that he went through and
Oh
how
yeah.
that affected him in his later state of life, you know. And I think it's a very interesting introspective. That being said, a lot of it is fucking he does a lot of stupid accent shit to the point like at one time it sounds like a he's doing like
Oh, he does that. Yeah, like
Middle
that auto
Eastern
tune, yo.
Indian chant. Like I'm just like what the with auto tune too. In fact, and not only that, Dr. Dre is in the fucking studio just watching him do this fucking Indian chant shit, and I'm just like, what is he fucking doing? That being said, when he's like the Heath Ledger bobblehead
Oh
line is
yeah.
so fucking dope. I think the introspection is actually like there's merit here. Like I do think there's some actual merit in this album. It's just combined with a bunch of just dumb shit, which if you like it, like us, it's great, but it's a certain taste for sure.
Okay, so actually, I think we're gonna switch it up because I don't think the doing track by track will work. So I think we'll just talk about some of the tracks that we really liked from the
Yeah,
album, and then what
yeah,
we didn't like.
yeah.
So,
And then it
um,
goes to Insane.
yeah, and then it goes
Let's
to
just talk
Insane.
about
Yeah,
Insane since I
Insane.
saw.
That's the
Yeah,
last one.
that's one of the most disturbing tracks I've ever heard. Like
Mike,
it coming from.
if you would please read the first few lyrics of that song, so just people
Oh
can get a
yeah,
taste.
oh yeah,
If you've never heard this song before, this is how
yeah.
it
This is
starts.
how it starts, and it somehow flows so good too. Like his flowing on that, his technicality and his wordsmith is amazing. Some of his best shit. But that being said, it goes like this: I was born with a dick in my brain, yeah, fucked in the head. My stepfather said that I sucked in the bed. I'm not even going to read the rest because it just gets worse. You know, I found out about is it felching?
Yeah, Felching,
Yeah,
that's right.
I found about felching through this song, and look up felching, and I swear to God, you'll be scarred for life. But like, I think about that line off just because it's such like a scarring, intrusive thought. Like I'm just like sometimes I'll be walking, and then he's like, "Would you rather get felch or do the felching?" Like I'm just like, and then it just gets that motherfucker's got nuts like King Kong. And then like why is this a line and why is that from the perspective of his stepfather? Like and like I'm just like wow, it hits you right off the bat with like the horrorcore shit.
That's probably the most disturbing Eminem song I've ever heard.
Oh my god, I think oh my god, but it's just like him fucking around though. I think like with something like at the Slim Shady LP and the Marshall Mathers LP, he says a bunch of wild shit, but like it's more structured and there's intent and like there's like a directness with
This
those
one, you
lines.
don't really know what the fuck is
This
going
one,
on.
he's going back and forth. There's a lot of like like super disturbing expressionism. I don't even know if that's a word, but like it's super expressive of like what he's able to think of and what he's able to do. Like and then like I hate bagpipes of Dad Baghdad. Like I don't think that's a good song.
Okay, so let's just get
Yeah.
into. So, what are your favorite tracks from the album?
My favorite tracks of the album are I think Hello is a really good song. Medicine Ball is so funny. I think Medicine Ball is such a funny song, but Stay Wide Awake is easily one of my
Stay Wide Awake
yeah,
is great. That's one of my favorites because the flow and scheme that he has on that track is insane.
yeah, like some of his best technical shit is on that song too. Deja Vu I think is also an underrated Eminem song because if it's like like an actual like he ditches the accents and he has like his actual voice and he's talking about like the lead up to the overdose and the overdose himself and his mindset like and how like that shit repeats and repeats and if you've been addicted to something like that is like a very relatable mindset and I think that's one of his most Eminem songs and yeah it's his most in like in one of his most inward songs and his most vulnerable songs too. Beautiful, I think, is also underrated because yeah, sure, it's like a poppy Eminem sad Eminem ballad, but it's super genuine. Like, and it's also beautiful. Is the first song he wrote after is the first song he wrote after the overdose. Like he was writing, so it's coming from a very raw, earnest place. Even though the rhymes are more simplistic than the other songs in the album, and it's like the only genuine like mainstream song off this album. Also,
Wait, did you say only mainstream?
the only like yeah like something you could play on the radio and be like, oh, this is
Oh,
actually
okay.
nice.
Well,
This is actually nice.
wait, actually, no, that's false. And I'll get into. I guess since you mentioned that, I'll get into the shit that I hate about
Like,
this album.
yeah, no, this album also has some stinkers.
So, this album has Crack
It
a
has some
Bottle.
stinkers. Yeah, Crack a Bottle is really not that, but it has some cool Eminem and Dre flows. They're like, look from under cheese from under my nuts. Like I'm like that shit's hard. I'm like, his actual verse is not that bad, but the chorus sucks. Dre is okay. I
And
keep
then
forgetting.
you have We Made You.
We made you. It. Oh my god. I think
I also
that-
fucking hate Old Time Sake.
that's
too.
old time's sake sucks, but we made you. I have a soft spot. I think it's such a this fucking like the shots he was going at, and I think that's just like it's the song that matches the accents the most. But that being said, it's a very annoying song. I've gotten used to it because I think it's a funny song still. Like I think a lot of this album is actually really funny in a very disturbing way. But that being I didn't even mention one of his most disturbing songs ever. Also, Same Song and Dance.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
Same Song and Dance is one of his most horrifying songs. Like not only like the mindset, like the stuff he was talking about with the celebrities, but also like that's also like an interpretation. I saw this recently too. I forgot what Joe Denton said this. Like maybe it's an interpretation like addiction and fame, and how fame and addiction go hand in hand, and how that can fuck you up. Yeah, so Same Song and Dance is a very admirable song that captures like that disturbing essence of addiction and being a celebrity. Crack a Bottle sucks. Underground's a great closer
Oh,
too.
yeah, Underground's
Like
great,
Underground's the most slim shady Eminem, even though the chorus sounds like Horror Hamilton. It's like it's the most slim shady Marshall Mathers shit he's sounded on that album, and even Relapse Refill I really enjoyed too. There's a lot of songs on Relapse Refill.
Real quick, I like how
that I really-
Underground goes from like it's the last track and then it immediately goes into that stupid
Oh, the fucking Ken Kneff skit. Well, first of all, people who don't know who Ken Kneff is fucking thinking we're psychopaths.
That's a very deep Eminem.
Oh my god. But Relapse Refill has a lot of like great shit too. First of all, the fact that Forever with Drake is on that is funny as fuck.
What do you fucking do?
It's so funny.
This always went over great in gay age. So stupid.
Oh yeah. It's from Underground. Drake doesn't say that, but like it's from Underground. But the fact Forever's on there is funny. Kanye West has some lines though on that song that I really don't like. Like,
is it the statutory?
yeah, the statue. Like I'm just like I hate. It's like this is gross. Like this is an Eminem Relapse bar for sure. Like I'm like he's like I like I hit the game yelling statutory. Like I'm just like why. And he said it with the most confident, swaggerish like flow I've ever heard. I'm just like, why is this is like I hate that line so much.
Wait.
I hate that line.
Something about I wish I could have my granny back. Remember she had that
You
bag
fanny,
hip like a fanny pack?
she had that granny bag like she got a fanny pack. It was like a fucking. And then Drake has a line where it's like something
like,
swimming Nemo.
Oh yeah, looking like a ball chemo.
And the beat drops too when he. Oh my god, I forgot about that line. I just heard it too, but like the Nemo bar, like I'm bald chemo, like that. And elevators
Elevator's great, too.
elevators are on the
Is that
Relapse
the one
Refill.
where he's like talking about? Yeah, that's the one where he's like talking about blowing up with proof on the phone.
Yeah, it's like what What if we went platinum? Models laugh at. Yeah, yeah, no.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then he's like, so you can suck my dick with Amy Winehouse's teeth.
Oh yeah.
And then at the end of that
Wait,
verse,
wait, wait,
yeah,
real quick. Little sidebar.
yeah,
Really quick sidebar.
uh-huh.
But it's funny that you mentioned that because so I had been listening to some Amy Winehouse recently.
Bangers,
And
bangers.
bro, I didn't know I didn't know about this story because I wasn't up on like celebrity gossip and shit back in the day.
Yeah.
But so I guess apparently in 2013, Neil Patrick Harris had I guess like some type of Halloween party that he hosted with his partner.
Yeah.
And in that fucking party, they had a custom meat platter made that was supposed to resemble Amy Winehouse's corpse. And the fucked up part about it is that I think this was only a few months after she had passed away.
Yeah, I'm just like, what the? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I saw because the thing is, I follow this.
Jesus Christ.
I follow this account on. I follow this account on Twitter
Yeah.
called Morbid Knowledge,
Yeah.
and they like post like just really.
Even if you're not following them on Twitter, you still will see them.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's but I highly recommend you do follow them, especially if you're into that kind of shit because it's really great. But they posted it, and I never knew about that.
Hi, Nala.
Yeah, so we have a special guest in here, but
Yeah.
but anyway,
Yeah, no,
I
that's
saw that and I was like, that's fucked up.
That's really disgusting, actually.
I was like,
What the
that's really
fuck?
fucked up. Like I'm surprised that he didn't get more shit for that.
Yeah, now he is like a couple years ago. I know he did. Like I was like, what the hell is Neil Patrick Harris trending? I didn't even know it was about that. What the fuck? That's actually legit. Like Hollywood, man. Like that. Like you find out about this Hollywood shit. This is like, whoa, these people like assholes.
Yeah, and it's very like if you've seen the picture, it's very disturbing.
Yeah, no, but we're gonna talk about something else. That's why I like Relapse. It's like disturbing fiction. Like this shit is like it's coming from true
But I just
places.
wanted to mention that because it reminded me of that.
Yeah, no, I like how that line's the one that reminded you of the.
Well, yeah, well, because it's fucking Amy Winehouse, so yeah.
Yeah, but Elevator, like, not even just because it has a bunch of dumb lines and like great flows, but also it's a genuine look about like Eminem. It's also another song of Eminem reflecting on his fame post like overdose and all that. How this led to that. How he's dealing with all the paparazzi and stuff. I think it's just like a unique song about that too. I think the drop not drop of the bomb was actually not that good. Although this is the song special for both of us. It's one of the last songs on Refill, My Darling.
Oh, I freaking absolutely love My Darling.
Yeah, My Darling was like a very close song for us because that's a song that really like hit for us.
Oh, wait, real quick. I totally forgot about this, but the rhyme schemes also that he had in Music Box are so fucking dope too.
Yeah, Music Box. And also, I skipped this one, but Must Be the Ganja. Like, there's a verse in that where he's talking about, like, I could name, like, all the serial killers in order with the weapons they use.
Oh, yeah,
that whole scheme was, like incredible. Because, like, and I just want to, because we're about to hit time, I wish we could have, like, another hour more. But we were talking about zoos, but like,
and why they're immoral, but you should go to them high.
Like they are, man. I fucking hate zoos. But like, my statement on Relapse, maybe we'll go on to this in the future eventually, but maybe another episode or something. But like the next 5-year anniversary. But like Relapse Refill to me is like Eminem at his most expressive. Eminem, and we didn't even mention Dr. Dre's production on here, which is some of his most underrated production.
Oh yeah, Dr. Dre produced
entire. Yeah, he was in the studio making the beats with Eminem and was there hearing all these crazy lines.
Eminem was like born with a dick in my brain. Dr. Dre was
He's
just
like hell
yeah.
Like I'm just like, oh man, ew. But like some of his most underrated production on here, like I didn't even know Dr. Dre could do this type of production. Like you hear the Chronic and like 2001, maybe like because you know like the old school Compton beats maybe have like some like horrorcore elements to them, but like nothing like this. Nothing so bombastic and artistic and layered too. A lot of the layering in the production is really nice. But like it's also Eminem's most artistic too. I think he was really in his bag with this one when it comes to like that
Yeah, it's a
that
very well produced
that
album.
that mise en scène. Like we never seen Eminem this go this all out with no barriers, trying to learn how to rap again. I do think it's just like this is I actually do like I didn't realize how shit on the MMLP2 got until way later in life, and I actually really enjoy that album. That being said, I did re-listen to it. I'm like, oh no, like a lot. I don't think a lot of it holds up, but I do think the album is good. But I like this album more than that one. I do think this is like the last great Eminem album. Like I do think so. Like after this, he fucking like even recovering in MLP, he went to like a certain direction that led him to other directions that I really fucking hate. But
But you
yeah.
know what? Kind of to cap off my thoughts on this album.
Uh-huh.
You know what this album is great for. If let's say if you're hanging out with a buddy or something and you don't you don't really know
Uh-huh.
if they're like cool or if they would fit your personality.
Uh-huh.
If you enjoy this album,
Mhm.
just be like, "Hey, I want you to listen to an album and tell me
Oh,
what
I
you
would
think."
I would never show this album
This,
to anybody.
but that's perfect
I
though.
would never show this album
Because
to anyone.
you know right off the bat if they don't fuck with it, you're probably not gonna fuck with them.
No, you know how many friends we have that probably fucking hate this album. I'm never showing. This is why I like this album because like it feels like this album was made specifically for me, and like and also there's a lot of intrusive thoughts in this album that I feel like just like was splatter on that's like super. Like this is like a very I wouldn't say niche, but like it's like an album for certain taste. Like you know what you're going into, kind of like an old school '80s horror movie.
There's
Like this is the sleepaway camp of
albums.
of albums. You know what? No, fuck that. This is the Beau is Afraid of albums. Beau is Afraid is the newest film from the director of Midsummer.
I haven't seen that movie, so I can neither deny or
Oh, I
confirm.
got it. You know what? I gotta show you that movie. Oh my god, because this is like the album version of that movie because it's there's a lot of people who haven't listened to it and those who have listened to it fucking hate it, but there's a certain few that like me that really love it. I also think there's also like the album is structured really well, how it goes into like it dives through like the mindset of the serial killer and like that is embodied by the drugs, and then it ends like with him coming out of it, out of that experience, even though this is still him being sober.
But I mean,
Yeah.
so really, the last thing that I would have to say is, so if you're ever on like a dating app or whatever, and
You
you
put it in
have
your
one,
bio.
you have
Put it
one,
in your bio.
you have no, you have one of those prompts, right? That a girl will usually put. It will be like, oh, like send me like music recommendations or send me your playlist. Just send her Relapse and see how that
Yeah,
goes.
see how that goes. You never know. You might find true love through this album. You could be like, "Wow, thanks, Ayo Podcast," and we'll be like, "No problem, sir."
All right, so
Yeah.
that's gonna be
But
my thoughts on
I
it.
love that album. One of my favorite albums ever. And whenever I say that, people think I'm crazy, which I am. I am, which I get. And if you don't like this album, and if you haven't heard this album, I still wouldn't recommend it because it's wild. It's a wild album. But if you're really to hear what Eminem at his most like non-barrier element, then yeah, just listen to it and hate me too. Your recommendation of the day.
Oh yeah, so finally to cap off the podcast, we will be getting into our recommendations. And this week, it was super hard for me because I was explaining to Michael before we started recording that I've been just listening to a lot of music lately. So it was kind of hard for me to pinpoint exactly what song I wanted to pick. So for my pick of the day today, I'm going to do something a little different. So I've been listening to a lot of country music for some reason lately,
Yeehaw.
and so you're stupid. But so my pick is gonna be by an artist by the name of Tyler Childs or Childers, and it's from his album um, Country Squire. And the funny part is, I actually knew about this album because I like another song on here as well. But I got put onto the song because it was in the playlist for one of the games that I got. And so the track is called House Fire.
Yeah.
And so I've never really been a big country fan. It's never been, I've heard a few songs that I've really enjoyed, but it's never been like my main genre. But I've noticed recently that I've just been getting into it a little bit more, and this is one of the newer artists that I have really enjoyed everything that I've heard from them so far. So again, that's Tyler Childers or Childs. I don't know how the fuck you say that.
It's Childers.
Yeah, Childers. And so the album is Country Squire, and the song is called House Fire.
Yeah. And my recommendation of the day is an album that came out recently, a couple months, about to be a couple months ago, but Wall of Eyes from the band The Smile, and the band is a newly formed band by Radiohead veterans Tom York and Johnny Greenwood. Johnny Greenwood also composed films like The Master, There Will Be Blood, Inherent Vice, Licorice Pizza. I think he composed that. I'm not sure. And then drummer and jazz musician Tom Skinner. And it's like a fusion of psychedelic rock and funkadelic jazz. Like it's super experimental. It's almost a vibe, but it has like that it's super atmospheric, eerie atmospheric element to it. But like every song is supremely well composed, very free flowing. It feels like each song they were just like doing I wouldn't say whatever they want, but there was a road, but how they get across that road was like their own choice. It's like such a free flow album. And I've listened to it not that much, 2-3 times, but I'm definitely listening to it more because I like that Radiohead sound. Radiohead is that's one of my favorite bands, and Tom Skinner. I haven't heard much of Tom Skinner, but I'm definitely going to check more of him out. And then they made this band. I'm just like, oh, I'm definitely checking more of this band, The Smile, and the album Wall of Eyes, which is my recommendation for the day.
Real quick before we end the podcast, you know how you said Radiohead? One of my favorite stories about Radiohead is that there's a story about the song "Creep."
Yeah.
That I think it was the lead guitarist. When they first came up with that record, he actually fucking hated it. Yeah. And so the reason why in the track there's a very infamous guitar riff that's like really loud when the chorus comes in.
Yeah.
And the story goes is that secretly the guitar player was doing that to kind of in a way sabotage the song.
But he just made it better.
Because he hated it so much, but it turned out to make the song great.
Yeah.
But that's one of my favorite facts about Radiohead.
Yeah,
but,
they hated that song. That's why after that album Pablo Honey, which is where Creep came from, they were diverging farther. Each album they were diverging farther and farther to that sound they made on that album. So, and OK Computer is masterpiece. But I also really like In Rainbows and A Moonshaped Pool by them. So those are my favorite Radiohead albums. But yeah, those are recommendations for the day.
Yeah, and that's it for this episode. We hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, follow us on everywhere. All the links for everything is down in the description, and we will see you all in the next episode.